Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel and welcome to episode 16 of Studio Time with Ryos. In today's video, we're going to be making some melodic dubstep. I'm really excited about today's episode. I've got a lot of requests for me to make melodic dubstep. Before we get into that, I do want to quickly announce some things with the Patreon. First off, I want to give a big shout out to every single person that joined the Patreon. The first month was absolutely lit and we had a way better launch than I anticipated, so I'm very grateful for that. We sold out of the Radiant tier in the first week alone, so coming into August, I'm going to open up 2 more slots for those that are interested. And then also for August, I'm going to start introducing monthly mini sample packs curated by myself of about 8 to 10 of my favorite sounds, and this will be available to all tiers. So the link to my Patreon will be down below. I don't want to plug too much longer. I'm really excited to get into today's session, so without further ado, let's get right into it. All right, y'all, episode 16 on the way. Let's get it. First off, I want to apologize. I do not have a voice. It's getting a little better right now, but over this weekend I went to my first competitive COD event. I've been a fan for a long time, and I was finally able to go to my first event. And yeah, that's why my voice is lost, because we were going crazy in that venue.
It's gonna be done.
Anyway, yes, so today we're going to be making some melodic dubstep. I tried to go on Splice to get some vocals that we could potentially, make a break around. So today, this is the vocal that we're going to be working with.
I've never felt so alive in my life.
And then we have this section.
Yeah, I'm free falling. Can you hear me calling, calling?
And then this section.
I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that.
So let's get right into it. So first off, I do want to play around with the key of the track. This vocal is in A minor. I personally like working a lot in G sharp minor and G minor. So I want to see what it sounds like if we pitch this down 1 semitone.
I've never felt so alive.
Okay, yeah, personally, because I'm such a big fan of G sharp minor, I think I want to work in that key today. We're definitely going to need a piano. And let's try to write a chord progression for the verse here.
I've never felt so alive. I've never felt so alive in my life. I've never felt so alive in my life.
I think that progression sounds really good with the verse vocal. Let's try to make one now for the pre-chorus here.
Free falling, can you hear me calling, calling? Yeah, I'm free falling, can you hear me calling, calling for you?
Okay, so I like this progression here for our pre-chorus, and then let's check out our chorus here. Okay, so I actually think it sounds good if the beginning progression that we use for the verse is also used for the chorus. I think we'll wind up rocking with this keyscape here.
I've never felt so alive in my life.
Let's start processing this piano here. I want to first off EQ it. We're going to take off some of the lows here. And then I also want to just adjust the MIDI to almost have a strum effect, so it's not as, syncopated or too artificial sounding. All right, so that sounds nice. Let's add some compression now. Good amount of compression there. Get some reverb going. And I'm actually going to also roll off some of the highs here. And then I think, honestly, we can just use a nice delay. We'll try Echo Boy. And then perhaps one more reverb will do Supermassive just to really give it that atmospheric character. All right, so this is a nice start. I like this piano a lot. Now we got that atmospheric, dreamy vibe going. Now I want to get a soundscape / atmospheric sound to go along with this piano. This one sounded kind of pretty and nice. I'm going to take off some of the low end here. So I'm hearing 2 main elements come in. I'd like to get a drum pattern of some sort going, and then I'd like to get a bass line of some sort. So maybe we'll try a bass guitar, or maybe we'll do the classic Ryos. We'll do some respace action of some sort. So let's try it out. First, I do want to get the drum pattern because I hear it pretty clear in my head. We'll play around with the actual drum sounds themselves, but I do want to get the pattern in. So maybe something nice and simple like this, and then obviously we still have to filter it down.
Free falling, can you hear me calling for you? Yeah,
I do want to layer this snare with like maybe a cool percussion or clap sound that has a ton of reverb to give this whole thing some space. Maybe one of these sounds could go well here.
free falling, can you
So we'll do vintage verb. And then we'll filter out some of the high end.
calling for you? Yeah, I'm free falling, I'm a
Okay, so we do need a bass sound in this section. So I want to first try a respace here. Let's see how this sounds in the mix. So we'll copy over our chord progression over to the bass.
Yeah, I'm free falling, can you hear me calling for you? Yeah, I'm free falling, I'ma keep on falling for you.
I want to do like what a lot of dubstep guys do, which is add like some cinematic toms here, as well as like a fast arpeggiator. Maybe I can just get away with using a loop. That'd make my life easy. Let's see how this sounds.
I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that you
All right, so now we need to make our arpeggiator. We're going to pull up a pretty standard pluck. Let's try to do the... Yeah, here we go.
for you. I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that you do. Can't you
Wait, this is actually kind of sick. Let's get some nice impacts going.
for you? I'm free.
And then we'll have the respace continue as well. So our progression for the respace will look something like this now.
For you. I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that you do. Can't you
Actually, I don't know if I like that beginning progression starting over here. You know what? I think it sounds better if our pre-chorus progression just carries over into the hook. So I think we'll run with that. Keep it nice and simple and easy. So now it sounds like this leading into the hook.
calling for you? I'm free. Oh, and I'm loving all that you do. Can't
Yeah, I feel like that sounds pretty cool. I want to make a few adjustments off the rip. Number one, these cinematic toms have way too much low end. I also want to address this ARP. So this ARP definitely needs some love. Slap on some focus 1.
Oh, and I'm loving all that you do. Can't you see? And I'm crashing right into you.
I want to also open up the cutoff on the ARP. I think that'll sound good. And honestly, we could do it for the respace as well. Why not? Let's get a build snare going. All right, so let's finally go ahead and work on the drop. I also just copied over this little bit over of the vocal to sort of carry over into the pre-drop section. Let's do the big saws first. Let's start with that. So we'll open up Serum for that. So for my first super saw layer, I'm choosing a sound out of Serum. Sounds like this. And let's copy over our chord progression over. That first layer is really good. That's going to be a nice staple. So for our next layer, we're going to go to Spar, and I want to get a more aggressive saw sound to layer with the other one. I also want to get a Nexus layer in there. Might be cool to have that as a layer as well. And I kind of want to get like a big room super saw. Ooh, actually, you know what? Let's get rid of that Spire layer because I like this one better. This stack is just missing one more layer, I think, so let's get that in there right now. Ooh, this would be good for a lead sound. We're going to keep this in the back pocket. This is the last layer that I need to help complete this stack. First, I'm going to roll off some of the high end of this layer actually, because I do like the high end of one of the other layers. I want that to be the primary source of the high end. We'll start off with focus 1 for the chord group. We'll get some focus going. A little bit of drive as well. Okay, so now we have our drop chords. We have a lot to play around with still. So let's go ahead and get some drop drums going first. Okay, so super simple pattern to start off with. I do really like this snare sound a lot. The kick I'm pretty unsure about for now. Maybe we can get some like cymbals and hats going. All right, the next most important thing is to now get a sidechain trigger in to follow along with the kick pattern so that our synths and our bass can get sidechained correctly. See, now we're getting that pumping effect going a little bit. We're going to have to make more adjustments later, but I do want to get the bass in first and foremost and then get the leads in. So first, we'll start with the bass. Still super rough, but we're getting somewhere. So that's going to be our sub bass. Now it's time to get our aggressive basses in. And you know what? I actually just came across this bass, which would make for a really good low mid layer. So we'll keep it for right now. And let's get back to focusing on the top bass in this drop. Okay, this bass is going to be perfect here for the top bass. For the next bass layer, I do want to go to Spire. There's one in mind. It's from one of the factory banks. I've used it before. Oh, drill bass. Yeah, this is going to make for a good layer as well. So the sub bass sounds good. The low mid bass needs to be adjusted a bit. Mainly just taking out some of the low sub frequencies. And then perhaps maybe we can distort it a bit using Decapitator. Try to tame some of this mud. Now for the roar bass, this really needs to cut through our mix. This is going to help fill out our chord stack actually. That's one of the main purposes of having one of these roar basses in here. So, and the same thing for the drill bass. This is a really important layer that's going to help cut through the mix. So same deal, we're going to cut off the low sub frequencies. We're going to do Camel Crusher here. And let's see how this sounds. And then the sub, we can add a R bass. Honestly, if we do that, then we don't even really need the low mid bass. So I'll mute that for now. Okay, interesting. I like how the chords and the bass sound a lot more when the sidechain trigger is also triggering the snare. Check it out. Yeah, that sounds way better. Definitely has more of that groove that I'm looking for. This snare, I love the tail, but I don't know if I love the body. So perhaps I'll layer it with a different snare. I could take out all the top end too, just because I really want that body only. So I tried a bunch of different snares. This one sounds best layered with this one. So now that sounds good. So now let's try adding a drop lead. We found that one earlier. It was really sick. It was nice and distorted. Yeah, this one. Okay, so the drop bleed helps tie this drop together nicely. I do want to layer it a bit more though. First, we'll duplicate serum, and I want to get more of like just a stereo super saw type layer to help give this lead more depth. And then lastly, for our lead stack here, I want to just get a slidey sort of simple Esk lead. We could try Air Force. Okay, so next what we got to do is process these drop leads a bit. I'm going to go ahead and cut some of the low end out. And then I do need to cut around 3500. Try to reduce a bit of that harshness. And then maybe we could play around with adding an ARP in this drop too. Maybe we can do something like this. Nah, I want more of like a synthy sound, not a bell pluck. Right now, I'm not really digging the ARP too much. I do want to go ahead and mix this drop because everything is a bit harsh. Let's try throwing a soothe on the drop chord group first. Same thing for the drop lead group. Now, I want to experiment with bringing back that low mid bass. Okay, I actually think the low mid bass sounds good now. I do need to replace this kick though. I'm not really feeling this kick at all, to be honest. I need to adjust the sidechain here, so here's what I'm gonna do. So we will create a quick sidechain group, and we're gonna send our drop basses here, our drop leads, and our drop chords. And that way we have one sidechain controlling everything. We do need to adjust some of the compressor settings because the synths are moving and grooving the exact way I want them to. So guys, I am very, very angry and sad. I just finished this whole entire episode of Studio Time with Ryos, outro and everything, just to see that my camera died. Oh my goodness, I'm so frustrated right now. I think unfortunately the best thing to do is run you guys through everything that I did after my camera died. And yeah, I guess let's get into it. Let's talk about everything that I added. Luckily, it wasn't too much. A lot of the meat was done before the camera died, so there it is. But anyway, the biggest thing that I decided to do was scrap the vocal. I don't know if I did that prior to my camera dying, but yeah, I just really didn't like that vocal actually. I scrapped that whole idea. To be honest, I really wanted to focus on a drop today anyway. So of course, we made the obligatory build up to obviously give context to the drop, and then I worked on the drop some more. So for the build, we have all these drum elements, which we had earlier as well. So nothing changed there. We still have the piano. The atmosphere I just made louder. The ARP, what I did here was add an endless smile and a flanger towards the tail end of this buildup. Just gives it a cool effect. And then for the Ryos, I just added a high pass filter. The Orc Impact was there already. I did add a downlifter and a sweep here. And then next, I added a pre-drop fill. All the drop drums are pretty much the same. I only added this crash here. Sounds like this. Just to help give the drop some more energy on that initial impact. For the synths, the leads and the chords are the same. The ARP, I finally got to work. And that was due to the Camel Crusher. This gave it a really nice texture that blended well with the drop. And then I also added this backing saw. I don't know if I did this before my camera died, but I'll talk about it quick. It's literally just like an atmospheric droning sound. I've used it in the past. But it's really cool, it's spacious, and it helps glue the rest of the drop together. And I also actually accidentally, at the time, copied over the atmosphere into the drop, and it sounded good. So the atmosphere is now playing in the drop as well. Okay, next, the sub, roar bass, and drill bass are all the same. The low mid bass I brought back. And then we have what I call the munch bass. This is just an FM bass with a nice attack. And it's acting more as the driving bass in this drop. So all these bass notes are sustained. This one's chopped up a bit. And it just helps give some more rhythm to this drop. The other thing that I did was I did the Nurko. And what I mean by that, what he does a lot in his tracks is he'll have the sidechain at times just playing a 4 to the floor pattern. And I did that by accident over here too, and it actually sounded kind of good. So I was like, fuck it, we'll keep it in regardless. I also added a filter to all of the synths so that at this halfway point, I can automate it, just spice up the drop a little bit. Sounds like this. So yeah, that's pretty much all I did. Let's take a listen from the top and let's see what I came up with. So there you have it, folks. Studio time with Ryos, episode 16. So overall, I'm really happy with how this project came out. I'm just so annoyed that happened. This has literally never happened to me before. I have storage. It never died. Like, the battery didn't die. I don't know why it stopped filming, but killed my vibe. So I apologize for that, and I apologize that happened. Hopefully this will never happen again. I hope regardless you guys got the gist of it, and I hope you enjoyed this episode because it really was a lot of fun making, and I am happy with the end result. So that about do it for me today. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, please be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that notification bell so you're notified the next time I upload. If you guys would like the stems and MIDI files for this episode or any other episode of Studio Time with Ryos, you can head over to my Patreon. The link will be down below in the description. If you guys have any requests or suggestions on things you'd like to see me make in the next episode of Studio Time with Ryos, be sure to drop those down below in the comments. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next video.